Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. The subject of today's talk is acquiring steady wisdom. And we have a guest speaker, Swami Vedananda. Most of you know him definitely. He is from Vedanta Society of Northern California. He lives mostly in Colima, I believe, but definitely also in San Francisco. He is an initiated disciple of Swami Ashokanandji Maharaj, who is the founder of our center, Barclay Center, and also Lima. And he joined the order in the year of 1970 and had his monastic vows in the year 1993 from Swami Bhuteshanandji Maharaj, who was the then president of our order. Swami Vedananda is very active in speaking, attending inter-religious meetings, and also student activities. He has a group in Stanford. I think it is named Vedanta or Vivekananda group, so he guides them. Otherwise also he is associated with the multifarious activities of the Vedanta Society of Northern California. In every branch of the activities will find that he has some sort of contribution. So I'm very happy that he could make time to come here today, and he has chosen acquiring steady wisdom as his subject. So I request Swami Vedananda to make his presentation.
Thank you, Maharaj, for that introduction. I didn't realize actually that I was that old. Holy Mother once said that, no, I think it was Golab Ma or something, quoted Holy Mother as saying, "Oh, I'm so old, I've seen my own father and my husband's elder brother." And so she kind of scolded Holy Mother, but who has not seen his father? How that doesn't show you're old. Anyway, so I suppose this is the case. Anyway, acquiring steady wisdom, of course, we will immediately recognize that as a special section of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, in which Arjuna asks the question that Sri Krishna should describe a person of steady wisdom. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. What is the description of a sthita prajna, a person who is sthita, who is established in this supreme wisdom that Sri Krishna has been teaching Arjuna? And so the question is, what is that steady wisdom, and how do you acquire? How do you go about acquiring it? Shankaracharya, who was the person who especially commented on the Bhagavad Gita and actually was responsible for the fact that it is so important in our horizon today. He defined this steady wisdom as one for whom the idea I am the Supreme Brahman is the established conviction. such a person is said to have steady wisdom. Now that's not exactly a, an introductory remark. If a person feels, I am the Supreme Brahman, aham asmi param brahma, I am the Supreme Brahman, a person for whom this is the established conviction, pratishtitas. That is the established conviction, such a person is said to acquire steady wisdom. Well, you could say that leaves out, you've heard of the 99% and the 1%. Well, you can tell which side of the equation you're on. And, but then you ask yourself, isn't that too much to expect of us? That we should know that that ultimate supreme reality, the indescribable, the infinite, the eternal, the basis of everything, that's how it's described. We can just say those words, but we don't know what it means. But in order to be considered to have established wisdom, this is what we're supposed to know. So you can say, well, all right, that's not exactly where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be accomplishing in this life. This is way over the horizon. Well, way over the horizon is all right, but if you climb to a high enough elevation, you always look way over the horizon. So it is, if it were an impossible thing to acquire, if it were an impossible thing to realize, there wouldn't have been any point in Sri Krishna mentioning it or making a big point of it. He could have said it in passing and gone on to something more practical. But he didn't do that. The whole second half, or you could say the last section of chapter 2 is devoted to that. How to answer that Arjuna's question, that is, how to reach the highest, how to establish oneself in a state or in a condition or in an understanding which is really fundamental and really enlightening. Otherwise, we have all sorts of enlightenments, little enlightenments. I can learn a little something, I can improve a little bit, I become a little bit more, say, a little bit kinder, I become a little bit more self-controlled, I become a little bit more wise. At the end of life, as one grows older, one feels, well, I've learned a thing or two, I was much more, if I'm bad now, you ought to have seen me earlier. This is, I've gained something. We feel that way, yes. But we don't feel that there's any fundamental difference. And that is one of the strange things. If you look around in society, or you look around at what people consider important, or what people advise you to do, or how they advise you to behave, everybody is concerned with the ordinary things of life. And according to this definition, the ordinary things of life are not they may be steps on the way, but they're not the fundamental aspect of things. Something, what we're talking about here, to be a knower of Brahman is something which is totally different. It is something which is not being a little bit better, it's something seeing the whole game in a different light. But people generally, all the advice that you get is not, in all respects, it's not, people are not so much concerned with that. But if you ask yourself, what do I really know? What is really fundamental, what is really the basis of the foundation of my life, of my experience. You have to admit that really we know very little. I mean, if you take just science, physical science, for instance, the world, is analyzed in so many ways as being atoms and molecules and all of that, and then those are made up of something, and those things are again made up of something else. You go to more and more fundamental things. Physically, when we look at the universe, we've gone a long ways. We've got, instantaneous communications. We've got so many remarkable things. But nothing fundamentally has changed. We're not really much wiser. We feel we know much more. We understand this world. We do this, we do that. But if you ask yourself, do we really have any deeper knowledge than people had 200, 300, 500, 1,000 years ago? Not really. We're still in the same universe. We haven't really attacked the basic problem. And the Upanishads try to attack that basic problem. And the basic problem is, what are we conscious of? All that we are conscious of are physical things or psychological things. And in each of these cases, you can always ask, well, what is the foundation of that? Whatever new thing you discover, whatever deeper information about your own self you discover, you can always ask yourself, what is the foundation of that? And then you come to a deeper level, and you can always say, what is the foundation of that? What is it that is real here? So the Upanishad analyzes it in terms of koshas. We have a physical reality, a body, and we see a physical universe. And then there's a mental reality and a mental universe. Before that, after the physical, there's the sheath, the reality of prana or energy. Physical reality is moved by energy. Energy is more fundamental than the reality because the physical reality is empowered by something, by energy. And beyond that is the mind, the mental reality, which cognizes all of this, which understands all of this. And beyond that mental sheath is the sheath of intelligence, Vijnana Maya Kosha, the sheath of intelligence, the sheath that directs the mental